Bar leaders, esteemed speaker, ladies and gentlemen. May I request Honorable Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay, Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, to please come on the dais. May I also request Justice Shibu Shankar Mishra, Judge, High Court of Odisha, to please come on the dais. May I request other dignitaries also to please come on side. The President, Prashant Kumar ji, Vice President, Dr. Anandita Pujari, Vice President, Mr. S.S. Naganand, and our Treasurer, Mr. J.S. Maratha. May I request Mr. Mukesh Kumar, our Joint General Secretary, to give a bouquet to Honorable Chief Justice of Delhi High Court as a love and token of appreciation from our side. May I now request Mr. Aditya Dhingra to please give a bouquet to Judge Shibu Shankar Mishra, Judge, Odisha High Court. Can I request Dr. Anandita Pujari to please come and address?
Namaskar everyone. We are at the concluding session and we have been deliberating for 2 days, so I won't take much time, but just 2 words from my side. The 2 days of intense deliberation has seen us navigate the minefields of sovereign debt fund crisis, digital governance, and anti-money laundering regulations. We have tackled concepts so dense yet important that, by comparison, average terms and conditions that we lawyers are so used to reading now looks like a cakewalk. We have started long into the lane of artificial intelligence, expecting Siri to object on grounds of relevance and debate cross-border challenges with such intensity and highlights. But one thing that we have kept is to find a solution to everything in rule of law. The last session of the bar leaders was a complete epitome of that. We witnessed it. As we prepare to file away our notes and adjourn this remarkable journey of 2 days of this convention, let us not see this as a closing, but rather as a well-earned recess that we all deserve. After all, the case for the rule of law is never truly settled. It is argued afresh every day in the briefs that we handle, the cases that we tackle, the matters that go before the court, right on the street or in the Supreme Court. In every situation, we are navigating to stay within the contours of rule of law. We leave here today not just with heavier briefcases, with loads of documents and cards, the business cards that we have collected from all our friends over a period of 2 days, but we also leave with a lighter heart, stronger conviction, and a global network of friends. Thank you very much, friends, for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Anandita Pujari. May I now request our President, Mr. Prashant Kumar, to give his President's address.
Good evening, friends. Like in Alice in the Wonderland, I think there is much of muchiness of me. So I'll be briefer than Anandita. What I wish to express is that remarkable contribution from all the speakers and delegates from across 33 jurisdictions and 6 largest and most relevant international lawyers associations from the world have chosen to descend to New Delhi and participate in this convention. The topics relating to rule of law and global economic governance were not the usual topics, were quite technical in nature, but with the ease at which and with the clarity of which the speakers presented their thoughts and ideas, it has served to integrate these aspects of economic governance with the principles and concepts of the rule of law. And each one of us could see how these principles inform or need to inform each and every global framework in terms of trade, commerce, investment, climate change, debt restructuring, and even aspects like anti-money laundering to combat terrorism and drug trafficking, but how an overcompliance of it can impact the rule of law negatively. So these aspects which are not generally talked about, understood, we were able to bring them out and also to see how as lawyers and bar associations we can contribute, because after all we are the ones as guardians of justice, judicial independence and rule of law along with the judiciary, that we believe in these principles, we work on these principles in our daily professional practice to bring justice, to ensure quest of truth. So that is a remarkable achievement in these past 2 days. And more than that, we had jurisdictions and delegates, in the whole of globe, the interests do not converge. They are varied and competing interests. But despite that, we agreed on the core. We agreed that we abide by the same principles and values, and those values are the rule of law. So that recognition, appreciation, and immersion in the thinking, the thought process, and the dialogue itself is one of the most remarkable achievements of this convention. So thank you very much, and I think you will return to New Delhi. This time you have spent a lesser time. India is very big, and we will be organizing more events to see all of our friends are back, and maybe this time in another part of the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for summarizing the topics that were discussed. Now may I request the guest of honor, Honorable Mr. Justice Subbu Shankar Mishra, to give his address to the gathering.
Honorable Brother Chief Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay ji, the President of the Association Prashant Kumar, Anandita Pujari, the Vice President, Mr. Vice President Nagananda, and the Secretary Mr. Bedi, senior counsels present here, particularly the most revered senior Mr. Chandyok, and the president of AOR Association, Bipin Nair, Rachna ji, and delegates from across the 33, Prashant was informing us about 33 jurisdictions. From 33 jurisdictions, the lawyers and delegates have come from different parts of the world. Welcome to them. Thank you very much for inviting me, having me in the closing ceremony. Initially, I was invited to chair a session. I was gladly accepted the offer of participating in the and chairing a session. When the last Saturday, when I was hearing Chief Justice Upadhyay in the National Judicial Academy at that point in time, Rachna ji called me up and said that no, there is a little change of the program and you have to now participate as a guest of honor along with my Lord Justice Upadhyay. I was so happy. I wanted to disclose him there and then, but I thought it should be a surprise to him also. I should. That's why I am here. I am so delighted that you have invited me, and I am regretting the last time when I was invited to Cambodia. I missed it, but I gave them surprise in the midway. I thought that this time I shouldn't miss the opportunity. This is a closing ceremony for the purpose of this convention, but according to me, it is a closing ceremony for today and it's beginning for tomorrow, and we have to keep on repeating this kind of convention, global convention, inviting people across the world to highlight the issues as important as rule of law. And I have gone through the programs, the schedules which were there within 3 days. The topics like the global economy, governance and principle for rule of law, digital governance tool and rule of law, sovereign debt crisis and the rule of law, capacity building in the legal profession and the commercial dispute resolution, climate justice and climate finance, and the topic which was earlier assigned to me, that the current global challenges of rule of law and independent judiciary and legal profession. These are the topics really highlights the today's situation. We are today in a situation where the geopolitical churning in the entire world is going on. There is a global disorder looming large in the trade sector, in the political structure. There is a climate change issue. There are issues on economic struggle. There are threat to the sovereignty of the nation. There are war. At this juncture, when so much of geopolitical developments is going on, at this point in time, choosing a topic of this nature and inviting people from across the world and deliberating upon those kind of topic is very, very relevant. Therefore, I would only say that the topic is well chosen by the association. The only solution for the disorder which is prevailing today, the world disorder in the trade sector, political sector, and but India is also at the receiving end, as all of you know. I need not elaborate then. The only solution is the follow of rule of law, that is the supremacy of law. Every individual, being a leader or a institution or a corporate sector, everywhere, everyone should be accountable, and the actions should be non-arbitrary and subject to judicial scrutiny. That's exactly is the rule of law is. I need not elaborate the subject more, because our chief guest is Justice Upadhyay is here, and he would be enlightening you about the topic, and he's one of the finest speaker I have seen, and I've heard him in the National Judicial Academy. All of us are very privileged to be a part of this program, and let us hear my Lord Justice Upadhyay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge, for sharing the inside story which we would have never known. And secondly, we assure you next time we will not change the topic once you confirm. Now may I request our chief guest, Honorable Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay, Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, to give his address.
my brother Justice Mishra, Judge, High Court of Orissa, Mr. Prashant Kumar, President of the Association, Mr. Chandiok, Mr. Naganand, Senior Advocate from Karnataka, my very dear friend Nitin Thakkar from Bombay, leaders of the bar who have gathered for this conference, senior advocates, participants from abroad, and others who are in attendance today. I wish you a very good evening. First of all, let me express my delightfulness and happiness to note that in this conference, there are participants who are not confined only to common law countries. So the attendance from the civil law societies in this conference perhaps will go a very long way, because it will be a deliberation between two different kinds of jurisdictions. How the issues coming up before different jurisdictions are being dealt with differently. But I am very confident that at the end of the deliberation, some consensus must have been arrived at. When I received this invite for the conference, I read the title of the conference, which read as the Rule of Law Convention. I must say that I found it very catchy, and instantly I felt curious to know more about it. Fortunately, I was served with a copy of the program online, and having gone through the same, I can confidently say that this is one of the most important conferences in our times. The principles of rule of law are the backbone of a civilized society, whereas the broader contours of rule of law are fairly known to all of us. However, its dynamics keeps changing from time to time. The cross-border nature of modern disputes and criminality have posed fresh challenges in the recent past, and it is heartening to note that Bar Association of India has taken up these pressing issues for deliberations. Every aberration in the society is a potential challenge to rule of law. Issues such as cross-border terrorism, debt crisis, narcotics, cyber crimes, economic frauds, digital arrests, digital governance, migrant crisis, etc., are replete with challenges to the rule of law. More importantly, these are no more issues of domestic character, rather they affect the world at large, and therefore the challenges emanating from such issues could not be addressed without holding deliberations on a global scale. What is rule of law? I mean, everybody understands, and I get intimidated if I dare to speak on rule of law amongst such a learned gathering. But to my understanding, in a very simplified way, rule of law is something opposed to rule of whims or rule of fancies. The endeavor of any system in any jurisdiction is dispensation of justice. Then again, I would say what is dispensation of justice is to ensure that everyone gets his or her due. So to ensure that everyone gets his or her due, the role of rule of law comes into picture. And from time immemorial, we have the world at civilizational level, at political level, has struggled to find a way out to ensure how to dispense with justice, that is to give everybody his due. Whatever is due to him according to law should be ensured. Everyone must have read or heard about that famous book on rule of law by Lord Bingham. He has pointed out 7-8 principles. I may reiterate only for the reason that as a member of bar, it is not only that you are interested with this job or you are interested with this task of ensuring rule of law, but these principles underline the role of the members of the bar. The first principle, as summarized by Lord Bingham about rule of law, is the laws must be clear and accessible. So I am not aware of the other jurisdiction, but if, at least in our jurisdiction here in India, the power of judicial review, works as a check. If some law is not clear, that can be challenged and struck down. The second principle which Lord Bingham underscores is that legal rights should be based on law. It should not be based on anybody's discretion. It should not be based on anybody's whims and fancies. That also needs to be ensured. Ensured not only by the system, not only by the judiciary of the country or the society, but as a responsible member in the society, it becomes the duty of every member of the bar to ensure these principles are achieved. The third principle which he outlines is that legal rights should be based on law and not on discretion. Now, especially in the field of administrative law, as I understand, the debate as to how much discretion should be given to administrators to the executive and how can it be limited, that has been the endeavor, at least in our country, and that also needs to be propagated in other jurisdiction and societies. Here again, the laws made here in India can be put to a legal challenge before the superior courts, and therefore it again is an onerous duty, job entrusted to the members of the bar to ensure these principles also. The other principle is officials must use power in good faith. So any administrative decision, any executive decision taken or imposed on a citizen which is not in good faith, which is not based on bona fide, which is infested with malafide, that is liable to be struck down, at least in our country. The next principle which Lord Bingham underscores is there must be affordable access to justice. This again is a principle where role of members of the bar comes into forefront. Of course, it becomes the duty of the state to provide an environment where everybody has access to justice. But then members of the bar can play most vital role by extending their services in so many manners. Because you come across every day, perhaps, if you have a look across the world, whatever in the societies is going on, this is not a very difficult thing to understand, that there are so many who are in need of access to law or access to judicial system, access to justice. They are being denied, and therefore I would urge the members of Bar Association of India, as also those who have gathered here in their respective countries, it becomes one of the major tasks, major roles of the members of the bar to ensure that everyone who is in need of access to justice is provided with such support from the members of the bar. Then judicial procedure should be fair, of course, and state must comply with its legal obligations. This again can be looked into from various angles. How to ensure that any state entity, any executive authority, even legislatures, they have to fulfill their legal obligations. The law casts certain legal obligation on the executive. We keep on noticing almost every day that they are not fulfilling the legal obligations, legal duties cast on them by law. So how to ensure that? That must have been discussed, I hope, and it also forms part of the principles of rule of law as outlined by Lord Bingham. I will not take much of your time because in 2 days, perhaps this is the last session, you must all be exhausted. I may disappoint Justice Brother Mishra, but I would again urge that such conferences, a kind of confluence, a culmination of lawyers from different jurisdictions, from different societies, from different countries, need to take place. Because exchange of ideas amongst ourselves will perhaps lead us to find a path where we can have a more peaceful and more just world order in these turbulent times. Some of the issues I am sure must have been discussed. The conference must not have confined itself only to the economic issues. The major issue, major challenge is perhaps in relation to the climate change. How to arrive at a kind of consensus amongst the various societies and various countries, because any climate change occurring, say in Guyana, is likely to affect us here in India as well. So this needs to be taken at a global level, and there again, historically speaking, lawyers have not played their roles only inside the courtrooms. They have taken lead everywhere. They have led their respective societies domestically as also internationally. So I must express my hope and desire that these sorts of conferences, not only in India but elsewhere, will give a kind of forum to discuss and deliberate these issues, so that we can also contribute our bit in finding a more just and peaceful world order. With these words, I must thank the office bearers of the Bar Association of India to have given me this opportunity to have a brief word with you. All my good wishes, and I hope that deliberations which might have been held in past 2 days, that will make every participant more and more enriched. They can spread the message which they are taking from this conference to their respective jurisdictions. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lordship. Your words were truly inspiring, and you have not disappointed us, because, as we can say from the bar, that you explained such a complex topic of rule of law in such simple words. We are truly honored. Now may I request our Vice President, Mr. S.S. Naganandji, to give the response.
Honorable Chief Justice, Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyay ji, about whom I've heard a lot, but have had the pleasure of meeting him today. Honorable Justice Shibu Shankar Mishra ji, President Prashant Kumar ji, my colleagues Anandita, Marjit and Maratha ji, fellow delegates, students and tired participants. Speeches after speeches, topics after topics, picking our brain throughout the last 2 days, and for those of us who was here even before that for the Presidents of Law Asia Summit, to 2-day Polar Summit, we've had 4 days of excellent intellectual stimulation, good food for the mind, for the intellect, and better food for the stomach also. So the Bar Association of India has been able to organize this event. When the deliberations took place about the theme of the conference and what we can include in it, a lot of discussion took place, and what was at the forefront of our minds was a shloka from Maha Upanishad. I'm sure most of you would have heard a part of it. As I recite it, you will realize. Maha Upanishad is one of the smaller Upanishads. It's not considered as the 18 major Upanishads, but this very important phrase comes in it. It's a 2-line verse. It says, Ayam nijaha parovetti ganana laghuchetasam. I'll translate this and then go to the next one. Ayam nijaha parovetti means, I'm the only who exists, other people don't matter. That's the thinking. Who is the one who thinks like that? Is Laghu Chetasam. Laghu Chetasam is one who is of poor intellect, who doesn't have
consciousness in him, who doesn't bother about society, that is the category of person who thinks like that. Then there is the exact opposite of it. Udara Charitanam tu. Udara Charita is one who is very wide-minded, open-minded, who's always got everything in the welfare of others in his mind. What does he think, he or she? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So this phrase Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, we have been hearing it. So in what context it is stated, if we bear this in mind, then connect it to rule of law. Now we heard a very erudite talk by Honorable Justice E. Ramasubramaniam, current chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, a former judge of the Supreme Court, and he elaborated and said there are 4 categories of law that comes to us, and one of the important categories, he said, the last category is an unwritten law, which is a voice which you hear from your heart whenever you are doing anything. So he gave the explanation from Vedas, Rig Veda onwards, but the last one is this. So if you bear this in mind, the concept of rule of law becomes very, very clear to us. Rule of law simply means that everything should occur as it is supposed to occur. In Varsha Ritu, the Megha should be there and it should rain. In Shishir Ritu, we must have cold weather. In Vasanta Ritu, we must have flowers. All around Delhi, when you go, you see them. That is the rule of nature. What is the rule of law? Now on the 10th of December 1948, when the United Nations General Assembly deliberated about the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and adopted it universally, for the first time an international covenant came about, putting down in writing what are the inalienable rights of citizens, of human beings in this world. But if you go back a little bit and then see what is this that we are talking about, is we go back to Bhagavad Gita, and yesterday Prashant Kumarji was mentioning about the motto of Bar Association of India. I will complete the rest of the shloka. Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha dushkrutam, dharma samsthapanarthaya, sambhavami yuge yuge. It's God's promise that I am coming to uplift good people. I am going to come and look after those who are pious people. And the object is, I want to establish dharma, or a code of conduct which is universally applicable to everybody. So that is the motto of Bar Association here, that it is established for the establishment of a just order. That is dharma. Of course, dharma, interpretation of dharma is a bit complicated, so I am not going to go into that. So if you bear this in mind and look at what happened in the last 2-3 days, I am sure all of us who participated will realize that we are exposed to a large number of ideas. One of the things which Honorable Chief Justice referred to is climate change, environment. Now for everything we have a historical perspective. And if you go back to our ancient scriptures, unfortunately most of us have not had the great benefit of reading them, understanding them and looking after them. So in everything you get compassion is something which is built into our psyche, but we have forgotten about it. Adveshtha sarva bhutanam maitre karunayevacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhakshami. How beautifully the Bhagavad Gita puts it, Adveshtha sarva bhutanam. Bhuta here means every living being. In the morning, our President Loya and Vice President Sham made a reference to the case of the great Indian bustard, which is now pending before the Supreme Court. And the argument that it is our duty to protect the environment. It is the duty of everybody to look at what is good for everyone. So if you look at it from that perspective, the conference exposed us to many ideas on purely legal issues which are universal in character. And we heard the representative from Congo making a passionate appeal this afternoon on how inequality is there in the world, how the developed world is not doing what it is supposed to do, how it contributes only, this country in Africa contributes 4% to global warming, but it is facing 90% of the burden of global warming. So where is this equality coming? How is it that the world is so skewed? these kind of intellectual deliberations that we have is very useful for us, and that is the reason why the Bar Association of India has organized a program like this and has reoriented our thinking to so many concepts which are of great relevance to us, because ultimately, if a country has to prosper, if all of us have to be happy, like that famous Vedic prayer, Sarve Janaha Sukhino Bhavantu, Samastu Sanmangalani Bhavantu. These are the two prayers which we utter every day. Sarve Jana Sukhino Bhavantu means let everybody be happy. Now, if you want everybody to be happy and you're going to ensure that Africa is going to keep on bearing the burden of climate change and not going to help them, it is not going to happen. Therefore, it is important for us to go back and see what is it that we can do, and as lawyers, what is our role. And Shyam Diwan did mention about the case that he is doing in the Supreme Court, which is right now coming up for hearing, a conflict between what should happen to electric lines if laid underground and what should happen to the Great Indian Bustard if it has to survive. Now, if you look at this concept that we have from the Bhagavad Gita itself, which says that you must have compassion for all living beings. So, if you can do something to help a living being, recently again we have had another great case in the Indian Supreme Court dealing with compassion for four-legged animals, our friends, the dogs. It's made great news all over the world, and the Supreme Court has actually fashioned a manner in which it has built the constitutional parameters into its judgment now by saying how to take care of this problem in a humane way. Now, these type of conferences are focusing attention on that. I'm sure some of us have read and heard about it, but many have not. So, these conferences are something which kindles our thought process, which helps us in our daily life, in our professional life, to see how best we can do what we can do for society. Of course, the legal profession is not completely a charitable proposition. It is, we have to earn our daily bread, there's no doubt about it. But in the process of doing that, if you can keep in mind that there is a large section of society, there's a large number of people who are deprived of all these things, and if we can do something to help them, we should be the first to put our right foot forward and take it forward to that line. So, if that is the aim of this conference, I think we have achieved it. And to just report to Honorable Chief Justice, at the end of the conference, Prashant Kumar and his team drafted the deliberations of this. And the last line of that is that there was a consensus that rule of law is the bedrock of all actions, and everybody recognizes and reiterates that all actions relating to governance, the internal governance, the international governance, the governance and relationship of countries, all of this should be on the bedrock of the rule of law, and that is something which is the only way in which we can bring about a universal order. And particularly because on the dais we had over 33 countries and representatives, bar leaders from all of them present here. And when this was presented, they all had a deliberation, they gave their viewpoints, and finally the consensus was agreed. I think this is a great achievement of this conference, and it could only be possible because of the large number of people who participated in it, the people who have traveled, long distances, unmindful of problems of language, like those are friends from Paris, friends from many other countries, Arabian countries were here, and even small countries where there are only 170 lawyers were there, Brunei. So, all of them were very interesting, and of course a large contingent from our neighboring country, Nepal. So, I think it's been a wonderful conference. I hope all of you have enjoyed it. On my behalf and on behalf of the Bar Association of India, I take this occasion to thank all of you and thank the entire Bar Association team that has been able to put all this together. And we wish you Godspeed and safe return to your native lands, and keep in touch with Bar Association of India. Thank you.
Thank you, Naganandji, for explaining the beautiful shlokas and connecting it with rule of law. Now, last but not the least, our treasurer, Mr. Maratha, if he can come and give vote of thanks.
Good evening to all. On behalf of the Bar Association of India, it is both my privilege and honor to deliver the vote of thanks at the conclusion of this remarkable convention, the National Dialogue on the International Rule of Law 2025. Over the past 2 days, we have witnessed stimulated discussions throughout deliberations and inspiring exchanges of ideas that reflect our shared commitment to advancing the rule of law, protecting the independence of the legal profession, and addressing global challenges with integrity and purpose. First and foremost, I extend our deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Honorable Justice Devendra Kumar Upadhyaya ji, our chief guest of today, and the Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, and guest of honor, Justice Simo Shankar Mishra, Justice of Odisha Court. Our honorable speakers, panelists who have generously shared their expertise on wide array of critical subjects from economic justice and cross-border terrorism to digital governance, anti-money laundering regulatories, and climate finance. Your insights have broadened our understanding and provided a strong foundation for the adoption of meaningful resolution today. We also express heartfelt thanks to our international delegates, bar leaders, and dignitaries who traveled from near and far to join us. Your presence reaffirmed the importance of collaboration across jurisdictions and cultures of safeguarding justice globally. To the organizing committee, especially to our dynamic president Prashant Kumar, our vice president Ananta Pujari, Rachna Srivastav, our general secretary Amritji Singh Bedi, our Mr. Naganand ji, our president-elect Amarjit Singh Chandok ji, our joint secretary Mukesh Kumar Singh, Amulya Dhingra ji, and his team, and volunteers and partners. Your tireless efforts behind the scene have ensured the flawless execution of this convention. From meticulous planning to seamless logistics, your dedication has made this gathering not only possible but exceptional. Finally, to all attendees and participants, thank you for your active engagement throughout questions and commitment to carrying forward the spirit of this dialogue. This convention is not just an event, but a milestone, and its true legacy will be the collective action we take in strengthening the rule of law in India and across the global. Let us depart today not with a sense of conclusion, but with renewed inspiration to uphold justice, equality, and the noble idea of our performances. Thank you, and we look forward to welcome you again at our future gatherings. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Subodh Misra, our office manager and his team, who has worked day and night. I'm so sorry, Subodh. I'm so feel sorry for it. And volunteers also, those who have worked day and night. Thank you all.
I declare this convention closed.
Those attendees who want the certificate of participation, it is available